Hi, everyone, and welcome to another special episode of the Get Crystallized Show. I am your host, Coach Crystal, and like Crystal's, strong women are made under pressure. And I have my amazing co host, Coach Janae, here. For those of you who are watching or catching this episode, Coach Janae and I, over the past, I think, since when did we start this series?
12 weeks.
12 weeks? Did we do 12 weeks out?
We
So
did.
we have been filming every single week. We've called the series Road to Pro. Both Coach Janae and I, we are fitness professionals in that we were training to hit the elite and world stage, which was a couple of weeks ago. And we were basically tracking 12 weeks out. And we talked about nutrition to get on stage. We talked about the supplements to get on stage. We talked about sleep. We talked about our workouts. We talked about the different categories. So if you missed this series, there was a ton of really great information. And this will also apply to all of you women. Maybe there's no way that you would step on the stage, but maybe these two guests will change your mind. However, what we shared over the past 12 weeks was still information that was really valuable for you if you just want to get into a bikini, if you just want to get healthy, if you just want to tone up and get that athletic build. Everything that we spoke of will still apply to you. So you can find, for those of you that are watching the Facebook Live, you can find us on Spotify and on Apple. It's called the Get Crystallized Show. So without further ado, last episode, Coach Janae and I, we shared our experience both backstage and on the stage. And we thought, why not bring two of our amazing R3 team athletes? So please give it up for Jane and Joanne. So, ladies, I would love for you both to start off. Jane, I'll start with you. First of all, how young are you? And why did you decide to step onto the fitness competition stage? You both competed at the end of October. So, where I think we're 2 weeks post show or 3 weeks
3
post
weeks.
show now? 3 weeks. Okay. So, I'd love for you both to share your backstory and why you decided to compete. So, Jane, take it away.
Okay, well, I was going into my 40th year, and the competition ended up being on my birthday. So I thought, what a great thing to do as a bucket list to do it on my 40th birthday. I've always exercised. Diet was not the greatest for me. So I thought that it will be a great way to kind of have a goal in mind and to get fit and just do something that I thought would be fun and a good experience and to reach my goal. And I did it.
You did it. And I love the fact that I remember the day you came up to me and said, I want to compete because I'm turning 40. I'm like, yes, because that's exactly why I competed, was to celebrate my 40th. So I love milestone because we've had a few athletes, right, Coach Janae, where they were turning 50 and that's how they wanted to celebrate. Now, Joe, you didn't have necessarily a big birthday. So I'd love for you to share why you had it on your heart to step onto a fitness competition stage for the first time.
So I competed, or I was motivated to compete because last year I went to see some of the girls that did compete in last year's show. So I went to see them and I wanted to support them. But there was one category which I thought was really inspiring, which was the transformation one. And that's where people were like a little bigger, or life changes or whatever happened, but life gets in the way and things may have happened. But to see the change and the dedication that they put in and how much they changed and just how much they feel better about themselves, they were so happy. It was gleaming. Like I could tell from just sitting in the audience and watching them how happy they were. And I was like, wow, I don't know you, but I'm super proud of you. I don't even know you, but what you went through, how much you've accomplished was like just amazing. And to see the girls, because I think me and Jane started at the same time. like working out and preparing for this. So we were working out with some of those girls, and they did great. Like those girls, they did awesome. So I just love the spirit. And I was really curious. Like I joined partly because I was amazed by what I saw, but I also was very curious of what the whole process was. Like the whole end to end and what was involved in it. I was very curious. And now I know it's not it's takes dedication. Like me and Jane, it helps to do it as a group. So happy Jane was with me. And
Yeah,
I could celebrate her birthday on stage with her. Like it made it just so much easier. But that's basically why. I was very curious and I admired everyone that was competing. They're so happy. They're so nice.
I love that you were inspired. A lot of our athletes, actually, Keandria last year, that's how she competed, because she as well was in the audience and was like, her and her sister, were like, oh, that would be kind of cool. Like maybe we can do that. And so, the beautiful thing is, Joe, perhaps you inspired another woman.
Yeah.
Right?
I've had people ask me. A lot of people have asked me. At one point in the beginning of this, like I didn't tell anybody that I was training for this. It wasn't until really the last 3 months when you start feeling better about yourself and you start noticing some changes. That's when I actually started telling people. I started telling my high school friends. I started telling people, I'm like, if you want to come out, because originally I told people, don't come watch me. But then I was just like, you know what? Me and Jane worked hard. We worked really hard for this. So I was like, come and you can watch me. And then I've had to ask how my whole journey was like. So it's good. Like my girls are proud of me. Like I did it for them as well. Like my 8-year-old and my 11-year-old, like they're like super proud and happy.
I remember them sitting in the audience. They were literally like this, Joanne, because I was sitting beside them. Like starry-eyed. My mom's a superstar. She's the model. And I asked them, I said, oh, how do you think mommy looks? And they're like, she looks so different. She's so pretty. It was the cutest thing ever. So I would love, Coach Janae, like, you are my literally my right-hand woman when it comes to the macros part of it. So I'd love for you guys, because macro tracking is a beast in itself. It's a skill, and we use it as a tool. So we use an app called MyFitnessPal, and it's a tool. We both practice something called, and we teach all of our athletes, if it fits your macros. And so, we start off, if you want to actually, whoever wants to share, we start off with, okay, let's nail your protein macros first, because you have to have your designated specific grams of protein, carbs, and fat. But protein, firstly, Coach Renee, why is protein the most important macro? Let's start.
Yes, protein is the most important for a couple of different reasons. I mean, most importantly, when you're training, it is going to help your muscles recover, repair, and build. So you need protein as kind of like your building blocks, right? And it's not just for your muscles, but for all of your cells in your body. It is a prime ingredient for your body to grow and to continue to replenish itself. Also, protein will help keep you feeling fuller longer. It'll keep you satiated. So that is absolutely a benefit. And it is, when you think of how many calories it's worth, like the trade-off is always going to be you kind of get more protein versus like fat, let's say. It's pretty equal when it comes to carbs in terms of the calorie component, but at least when you're working on just proteins, it won't take up as much as, let's say, your fats, right?
Mm-hmm. So Jane, Joe, what was your experience like when you first got your macros? How was it? Like, was it tricky? Was it, and the first thing that we had asked you to do was nail your protein macros. How was that?
Jane, you can go first.
Okay. For me, it was hard. Just because I don't like eating the same thing every day. So it's kind of tricky to meal plan and to just think ahead and put in my protein first. It was I've done keto before, so I was used to not eating as much carbs. But it's just the calculation and just making sure that you get enough protein, because I think that was the hardest thing. I wasn't getting enough protein. And then towards the end, I just realized to meet my goal, I just had to have a set of protein that I would eat every day, and just do, just input it and just eat the same thing, and just change maybe one thing every week or something. But
And
it was tough.
I remember, Jane, like towards the end, like you shared, I don't like eating the same thing every day, but towards the end, you didn't mind eating the same thing every day.
I actually still eat the same thing.
Exactly. Which you should.
It's just easier. It's so much easier.
And then you know, over time you like what you like.
Yeah.
You like how you spice it, you like how you prepare it, and you look forward to it. I don't know. Guys, don't you guys enjoy your food, even if it was like towards the end of your prep? You still enjoyed your food, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Joe? How was macro tracking at the beginning?
I'm the same as Jane. The macro part, I will be honest, was not easy in the beginning. I would say that is actually the hardest part, is because like, especially if you have a family, because you still have to cook for your family. So for me to like hit everything, still cook for them, but me meet my protein, it was hard. But I was the same as Jane in the sense that I would found what I liked and I just rotated it.
Good.
So when people ask me what I eat, I can list like the 5 and I just say, I just rotate this like over and over again. It was the easiest thing to do. But I will admit the macros, like sticking, it took a good, like I would say 3 to 4 months before I actually got that down.
Yes.
It does take a while.
And that's where we start with our protein first, because in the grand scheme of things, that is the most important, especially as women over 40 trying to change our body composition. Then the next thing that we focused on was the carbs. And we really want our athletes to be healthy. So we really push the 500 grams of weighed vegetables. Speaking about, your gut as well. We want you guys to be regular. We want you guys to get all the nutrients. So how was then adapting your carbs? And maybe it was the first time you ate that much vegetables. How was that for you guys?
I had to, I like eating spinach, but it wasn't enough weight. So I had to start eating heavier vegetables to kind of meet that 500 grams a day. So broccoli and beans.
Broccoli and beans.
Green beans. So they're a lot heavier. So you have to start thinking about the type of vegetables you're eating. So not just spinach, not just like garden salads, just because like you need to eat a whole bag of salad just to get that much fiber or that much grams of vegetable in you, right? So it was a little bit trickier to rotate the vegetable as well, and just to make sure that it wasn't a lot of carbs. So like no corn or beans and like kidney beans and stuff like that. So it was a little bit tough. Again, I just picked the vegetables I like and I just ate the same thing and rotated. Easiest thing to do.
A lot of mine, I mean, like a lot of my food all came from Costco. So all of my protein came from Costco. My veg, same thing. A lot of broccoli, beans, spinach. I love spinach. I'm the same as Jane. I actually started adapting to a lot of kimchi, actually.
Good.
Just to make up the more like veg. And because it's fermented, it helped with my like stomach.
Yes.
So I introduced a lot of kimchi. That actually I started liking a lot. But it is 500 is a lot of veg. So that's took a while to adapt that as well.
So then we fast forward, you guys mastered it. And then, as we're getting closer to the stage, both of you have different body types, and I can't wait to share, your before and afters. But, again, because we're all different. Every body is different. And so, and also we're all in different categories. So there's a certain amount of foods, a certain look that we're trying to attain. So what was your experience like with your macros? Like that last, I would say 4 to 8 weeks when it started getting like pretty, low. I mean, obviously this is extreme. This is an extreme sport, right? So this is something that is not actually considered healthy, eating that way. And we'll talk a little bit about reverse and how we slowly start to increase your calories after the show. But how was that? Like the last, 4 to 8 weeks, how was that for you guys with your food?
Not fun. That was the hardest for me. The last 3 weeks up to competition was a lot. It was not fun at all. Like I would have really low days, and I would have a carb overload day. Then I had to drink a lot of water on a couple of days, and it was just like, yeah, my body was not happy with me sometimes. But in the end, though, like it is a science, because like I told Janae and Crystal, like I was like, whoa, there's a reason why like I had to do this, because at the end you fill out or you look leaner or something, but there was a reasoning for it. But yeah, it was hard.
Jane, what about you?
Well, for me, with the decrease in calories, I just had to make sure I had a food that made me happy in there. So, I had to put in toast, butter, and jam, fit it in my macros, eat it first thing in the morning, and then just decrease my carbs towards the end of the day. And kind of made me feel happy and not as grumpy, making sure that there's something that I like that I would eat. It's not that I didn't like eating the protein or anything like that, but just something, it's like a treat.
It's 100%. Mine was bagels every day without fail, right till the show. What about you, Coach Janae? I mean, your protein buns are amazing. Like,
yeah, those were a staple. Couldn't leave home without that. But definitely and it's funny because I've always said when it comes to carbs, I was never really like a pasta or a rice type of person. But I really got into rice. Like I really got into it. So, 'cause I would have it for like 2 meals. I would have like a savory version and then a sweet version as well. So, that was my thing was white rice, right? It doesn't have to be, super fancy. I was looking for a simple carb and, it was delish. I love it. And it's still part of, like my diet now in reverse, right? In fact, after the couple of days, you take a couple of days break and not as much tracking, or maybe you have some different foods. Like I actually couldn't wait to just like get back to like I just want my normal diet, because I know what to expect. My body, I know how my body's going to react to it. I know I'm not going to be bloated. I know like I'm going to feel good, eating it. Right. And I just want to get back into that routine and back into that system. Right. So I was very happy with my rice meal today.
Well, you got 3 Asians on your screen right now. So what rice? I mean, we were born with it from day one for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we totally agree with you. Totally agree.
I knew you guys would like it.
So the macros, yes, I think it is probably the most challenging part. And then, of course, there are the workouts. So when you're a part of the R3 team, we have teammates that are also based out of the US. So we train twice a week minimum online. And then the other times you will either have written workouts and or online workouts to follow, right? So, but we make it a staple to train twice a week together. And I particularly focus on the most important parts of the body, which are what, girls? What do I focus on?
Booty.
Booty. So they say competitions are won from the back. Mm-hmm. And so, with my girls, I really want to focus on, the hamstrings, the glutes, especially, but we'll hit up the quads as well. But I'd love for you guys to share, like, from the training, doing the workouts on your own, and also the benefits of training with a team twice a week and meeting online and training with a team, because there are a lot of competitors that they're not necessarily a part of a team. But I'd love for you to share, what was the benefit of that, knowing that you had teammates that were probably cussing under the breath with you. Right? How was that?
I actually like the 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 live workouts that we do. It encourages me to work harder, and it's just a set time. I know I'm gonna do it at this time. The workouts on my own, sometimes it's sporadic, whether I do them in the morning or later on in the afternoon. Um, and sometimes I have to drag myself to do them. But with the workout as a group, it's you show up, you do the work, you do the workouts, and you try harder, just because everyone else is there trying harder as well, right? And you don't slack off.
I just want to give Jane a shout out though, because being a nurse and your 12-hour shift days, like you would still get them in. I remember there were some, leading up to training for the show where it would be literally 4:30 your time.
Yeah.
And you would be working out with us. 4:30 in the morning, guys. Like we're not talking in the afternoon. Yeah. And that was the time that, Jane would be training. So like kudos, man. Honestly. Like
actually the early morning workouts were better for me. It's made sure that I got them done. Later on in the day, I feel more tired. So doing the early morning workouts were really good for me.
I mean, I love morning workouts, but 4:30 is a whole other level. What? That's crazy. What about you, Joe? How were the workouts for you?
I'm the same as Jane. I did like the group PTs. Like I do like working out on my own, but there's just something different when you're working out in a group and you're on the same video live with other people. I feel like my body just knows I have to it's sweating so much more. It's like it's like, oh no, like I'm being pushed so much more because everybody is in the room with me. Mm-hmm. It's like sharing the pain. It's a lot. Yeah, but
I've learned your tricks, guys. Now I know why you're muted, because you don't want me to hear you cuss at me. That's why.
A little bit of that.
Everybody's muted. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, before that, I could hear them breathe and this and that. Now I can't hear them. They're on mute and
silence. Yes.
Tricky.
It's pain. And we know your hints too, because when you tell us to go and get a certain thing. And Janae, because she noticed this about me. As soon as you say get the towel, I'm just like, oh no.
Yes. I know.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be able to walk in the next couple.
Yeah.
But you know what? I feel like doing it in a team environment is not only beneficial throughout the process, but you had each other on the actual comp day. I'd love for you to share, what was your experience from getting your tan, getting your makeup done, your hair done? What was it like backstage? One of the reasons why we do like UFE as a federation is because as a first-time competitor, they're just so friendly backstage, and they're very well organized. And the competitors in general are very helpful with each other, and they're because I know there are some federations where, of course, it's a very, very serious thing for them. This might be something that they want to pursue as a career or whatnot. So they're very to themselves. But what I like about this federation is that everyone's really friendly. What was your experience from, leading up to the show, from getting your hair done, your tan, I know, Joanne, you were freaking out about looking orange, but then you ended up loving the color.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Jane, you want to go first?
Okay. Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't know what to expect. I was expecting orange as well, but the color actually was really nice. It turned out really well. It was like with the hair and makeup, I actually couldn't stop staring at myself. And I had my cousin with me, and my sister, and I just couldn't help but showing them my body. and I just felt so proud once like everything came together. And then going into the competition, having a teammate there, having Joanne there, and like both of us were nervous, but we're not.
Yeah.
Expected, like we knew coming in there, we're there to have fun. Seeing the other competitors there, it wasn't a competition. It felt like a fun pageantry kind of thing.
I agree.
Going in there and like sharing, it's like, oh, I have this candy. Oh, do like what are you guys competing in? Where are you from? Like what's your name? They were just so friendly. It wasn't a very competitive environment. It was very welcoming, and I felt very relaxed. And it became such a fun day. It was a long day, but it was a fun day.
Well, I just want to point out, you started your journey around 140 pounds.
That's right.
And when you stepped onto that stage, Jane, what did you weigh in at?
107. And that was the weight you told me, and I couldn't. When you told me I had to be 107.
I told you
No way.
Day one, I said, okay, Jane, remind me of your height. I said, where are you at? We're going to step on that stage at 107. And we literally hit it.
Yeah.
Literally hit it.
Yeah.
And you look, I mean, my gosh, that smile says it all.
Amazing.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So for you, Joe, I remember you had shared that you had never walked in heels ever. So I would love for you to share your experience with learning how to walk in heels.
I wear heels for work once in a while, but I seldom wear heels. And when I saw the heels that we do have to walk in, which are like this high, so I'm not very girly. So the heels, leading up to the competition, the posing practices that we had to do, I was just like, I had the claw. My hand was like, it kept doing the claw, and you're like, Joe, release the claw, release it. Like, I was like, not. It took more mental capacity for me to remember to do those things and just to walk gracefully. So for me, I liked the workouts, but like the whole posing was hard for me. I did love the tan. Like I think me and Jane, when we came out of it, I was just like, I really like this. Like, good. So I did like that. The makeup was good. I actually did like that as well too. I think for me the hardest part was the posing and the walking in the heels. At one point I was completely comfortable with just being in that bikini. I did not mind it at all. I was just like, let me put back on the bikini, just take my pictures, we're good. Like I liked it. So my kids were so used to it. My husband was so used to it. I am so happy that Jane was there to be in this journey with me because it made it so much easier for me. And it was weird. I thought we'd be I think we thought we'd be really nervous.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, we weren't nervous. Like we did that as soon as we walked out after the first walkout, we were like, oh, okay, you know what? This is not bad. Like we're good. And like I think me and Jane originally we thought we were only in one category, and then somehow we got put into other categories. So we had to walk out a couple of times. But at one point, you're right. Like it was fine. Like we were comfortable. It was kind of fun. And I was just like, it's a great experience. Like if I had to take anything away from this, and I tell everyone that's asked me what I went through, this was an amazing experience. Like I would say this is like a bucket list. I didn't even think it was a bucket list for me, but now like I think about it, I'm like, this is like a great accomplishment. I mean, we went through a lot, and to see it through to the end, I'm just happy I made it to the end.
Yes. And you didn't just make it to the end. You look at you. It is amazing. Your transformation, you're the definition that you were able to achieve, just the confidence that you exuded when you stepped onto that stage from someone who was like, whoa, you look like you were on stilts when we first got you on those heels, to then rocking that stage, smile ear to ear. You look phenomenal. Your athletic build just is so beautiful. With inspiring your girls in the audience. Yeah, no, honestly, it's more than, I think it's more, uh, I truly feel like it was a transformation, Joe, in you that we were, so blessed to witness.
I
Um,
love that I'm influencing people. Like, you unconsciously influence people that you didn't realize. Like, I have friends that would message me and they're like, "Oh, Joe, I didn't want to work out, but I worked out even harder just because I saw your picture." And like, I was like, I need to get my butt in gear. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, and you are such an inspiration. So I would, we start recruiting now for Team 2024, because as you guys know, we really start the process with mastering your macros, and that takes, like you girls said, which is the norm, about 3 months.
Mhm.
So, we typically like to start recruiting for our team now. So then you have basically December, January, February to nail your macros. By March, you should have mastered it, right? So, and, the first 12 weeks are pretty much the foundation phase anyway. So, what would you say, maybe someone's watching right now, they're like, oh, I can relate to her. Oh, wow. 140 to 107, or oh, I want to inspire my girls. What would you say to her? Like, why would you encourage her just to even apply? What would you say to her?
You want to go
I
first, Jamie?
Yeah, sure. I think if you've been thinking of getting in shape, you've tried so many things, but I think joining a competition is a good goal. And if you know there is an end date, you kind of work a little bit harder. Um, you kind of follow through once you set your mind to it, and you know that at this date I'm going to do this, and I want to do this because I want to look like that, or I want to to achieve the the body or the weight, or like just break the cycle of yo-yo dieting and just to have a goal. So I think joining this competition for me, if they're like me, it was a goal, an end date kind of thing. So it encouraged me to kind of continue and follow through with the plan, and just yeah, and and be happy with what you achieve at the end because you worked so hard.
Yes. And there's a lot of life skills that you now know, like tracking your macros now is a skill that, ideally we continue on. It doesn't have to be as strict, but now you're more mindful of your food as well. You know what foods don't make you feel bloated, so there's so many life skills, including, being consistent with your workouts now. For some ladies, this is an opportunity to make it now a lifestyle, right? So yeah, really great points. What about you, Joe? What would you say to her if she's watching this right now, or watching the replay, or listening to the podcast, and she's like, ooh, should I apply? Like, what would you say to her?
I would say, and I said this like when I had to do my spiel for the competition, I think I wrote like, do things that scare you, do things that challenge you, because if you can see it to the end, you will be so proud of yourself that you did it. Like, I'm a very shy person. I don't like attention. I don't like people. I'm a very quiet person. So for me to do this and get out of my shell was a big reach for me. But I did it for me. And I have had a lot of people that ask me why I did it. And it was the only thing that is for me. Like, besides, I do everything for my kids. I go to work. When I work, it's for a company. That's their thing. That's not for me. So this is the only thing solely for me. And when I did do the competition, I was really proud of me and Jane. Like, very proud. Like, it didn't even matter like anything else that was going on. I was super proud of what we did, and we had fun. We weren't like, I'd be nervous, but we didn't. We were good at toward the end. It was a lot of fun for us. So I would say do it. Like, it'll scare you. It's definitely out of your comfort zone. I don't like heels. Those things are high. Definitely helps that Janae and Crystal were there for the helping me with the posing practices. Like, it helped me a lot. I needed it. Janae is like very good at. She's so graceful. When she so I learned a lot, and I also learned, like, when you mentioned that whole what you learn now, what your body likes and what it doesn't like. I didn't realize that my body didn't like whey protein. It took a while that I realized that I was like, it was the whey that was making me very bloated and uncomfortable. So I was just like, because I've been using whey for the longest time. So it wasn't until like I started realizing my food intake and tracking it, it was the whey that was doing it. So I switched that. So I feel better. My kids are eating better, a lot more vegetables, a lot more fruit. They're going to adapt that. I try to do interject it with other people and just say, hey, eat a little more vegetables, whatever. But like, at least my kids are eating better, which is good. And they know it. They consciously know it, that that's something that they should be doing.
That's awesome. I love that your girls, you know, even before the competition, Joe, you know, as a member in R3, they saw that this healthy lifestyle is normal. You know what I mean? Because so many kids think being lazy is normal. And you're ingraining in your girls, who are so influential right now. They watch everything you do. That working out is a good thing, eating more vegetables is a good thing, drinking your water is a good thing, and you're literally seeding these life skills that, you know, hopefully they're going to continue on, because that's all they knew, which I think is amazing. You know,
like, I think when I first met you, I told you my fear, like, is like getting older. My fear is getting older and not being able to walk on my own, having some kind of physical struggle in any way. That's my fear. So if I can do anything to avoid it now, I will try my best to. And it helps with your coaching and everything. It helps, because that was my fear. I don't want to be in any way reliant on someone to take care of me, or just not being able to walk a far distance. Like, that was my fear.
Well, you are one strong mama at how young, Joe?
43.
Okay, yeah, and you don't even look it. So, you know, we've really found the fountain of youth, girls. Like, you know, Coach Janae, you're 45. I'm turning 45 in about a month, and I'm proud of it. Honestly, I really am. I'm proud of us. Coach Janae, let's have you share they've maybe been listening to the whole series, and they're like, tug of war. You know, should I apply? Should I do this? It's such a big commitment. I'm scared. I don't wear heels. All the things. What would you say to her?
If you have all of this going through your mind, like, that should be a clue. That should be a clue that it's resonating with you. There's something deep in your gut that maybe you've left undone. Maybe something that you haven't, you know, seen all the way through, or you haven't kind of pushed yourself enough to realize what you're capable of. That if you're feeling those things, and just like Joe said, if you're scared, for me, I always think of it as if there is a challenge or something that I am fearful of, or kind of scares me a little bit, then that is all the more reason to do it. Because I know that at the end of it, I will gain so much for just being able to pass through it, just to be able to accomplish it, to do it. So if you have those thoughts, if you are thinking about that, then that is your clue. That is your sign that you need to follow up with it and see where you can take it. It doesn't necessarily mean like, sign up now, let's go, right? I mean, maybe, but at least, at the very least, be like, have an open conversation and find out a little bit more about it, right? And listen to those little voices, right? The little ones that are telling you like, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful? Imagine if that were you, and picture it, like visualize yourself on stage in the end result. I always would think at the beginning of prep of the Janae that makes it on stage, the next best version of Janae. And that's what would get me through prep. Not who I was at this exact moment, you know, like, oh no, I have to track my macros. Oh my gosh, the workout. I'm thinking of the Janae out on stage and everything that I will have accomplished 12 to 16 weeks, whenever I start my prep. where I will be at that point. And that's the Janae that I wake up with every single morning. So you need to visualize that and think to yourself, what is the version of you that you are trying to achieve? And what would that version of you do? Right? That version of you would probably be like, oh, I need to apply. I need to find out more about this. So be that version of you instead of just wishing for it, because wishing for it isn't going to make it happen. You have to take action and you just got to do it.
Here's the thing, like, and I'm gonna, we've said this before, and because we've had athletes who would start training, not necessarily committing yet to a show, but they're like, can I at least train like I am? Yeah. Absolutely. But I promise you, once you start going, you're gonna be like, well, I've come this far, I might as well. I might as well. But if that's you and you want to at least train like you're going to compete, we still want you to apply. Yeah. We still want you to apply, because if you are the type of woman that is ready to take your fitness to the next level, and like Coach Janae said, what could that version of me look like? What is possible if I actually follow through? If I trust myself completing this process, what could possibly unfold? What could I possibly look like? So if you have that little inkling in you right now, apply. And so all you have to do is put #apply now in the comment box below. If you are listening to the podcast, there is literally the application link. Complete that application, and we'll chat. We'll see where you're at. And here's the thing, there are many shows throughout the year. Like, we've got, Coach Janae and two of our other athletes competing in June. We've got two athletes competing in April. We've got, more athletes competing in October. So depending on where you are, we can kind of reverse engineer. Maybe you are ready in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. But, at the end of the day, it's just deciding, yes, I'm going to commit. I'm going to do this for me, and I'm going to see this through. But the first step is to apply.
Yeah.
So thank you. With my co-hostess with the mostest, and Janae and Joe, and I loved it because they're my
J's.
Yeah, right. My J's, my J's. But thank you, girls, for sharing your testimony. Perhaps you've inspired a woman who is watching right now or listening to the podcast right now to maybe, step onto that stage and become of R3 Team 2024. So, so if you feel that little tug, don't let it pass. Now's the time. And you'll see these girls. They're still training. They're athletes. They're still training. And who knows? Maybe they'll be on stage with you. So who knows? We call it the bug. Once you and you're like, oh, maybe one more. I know I could do better. I could look better, right? You never know. You might step on stage with my J3. So thank you guys so much. Again, put #apply now if this is something that you want to do. To my guests, Jane and Joe, to, of course, my coach, Janae. And then next week, I think what we can talk about, Coach Janae, is a little bit more how to reverse out from a show. I think that's what we can talk about. Yeah,
that's a good one.
All right. Thank you, girls. Love you guys so much. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you guys next time on the Get Crystallized show. Bye, everybody.
Bye.